Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Holt from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and you're listening to The Razor's Edge.
Thank you for joining us to obviously discuss the. There's been an awful lot going on in the Fear Factory camp over the
Oh
last
yeah.
over the last few months. Kind of wanted to make a start really just to talk about the reissues as a starting point because
Sure.
they came out a couple of weeks ago. Um, so really just the initial question was who kind of was there a particular pie that instigated the reissue? Was it you going to the label and saying we want these albums back out? Was it the label coming to you and saying we really would like to get these back out to the public, or was it a bit of a collaborative effort between the two parties?
Well, initially the two records were released on a different record company, and they it was a licensing deal. So when the licensing deal was up, those records came back to us. So we obviously teamed up with Nuclear Blast to do the reissues, and they were like, "Well, if we're gonna put these out, maybe we should do something different to it." And
Mm,
so that's where the idea was, hey, let's add all these bonus content.
yep.
And two, let's add live drums to the industrialized, to the industrialist. And so we went in and we did that. That's exactly what we did. We had my guy named Mike Heller who had been playing with the band for a long time at that time. He went in and we recorded the drums. Initially, the industrialist had drum programming because we didn't have a drummer at the time. So when we wanted to re-release it, we decided to use a drummer that we had at the time, a guy named Mike Heller, to go back and re-record the drums, live drums, and it came out amazing.
I mean,
So some people, years later, some people were like, "Well, why do that?" Because when the record first came out, the Industrialist, a lot of people were disappointed that it was drum programming, and Burton and I were very honest and open about the process of making the record. And part of that process was using a drum program because we didn't have a drummer at that time back in 2011, 2012. So, a lot of people, when they heard it and they heard how we were talking about the process of making the record, were very disappointed. It's kind of funny because it's been a few years now. It's been 10 years now or so. And some people don't remember, but it was almost like the record got canceled
yeah.
because people were so disappointed, and the record kind of kind of flopped just because people were so disappointed, people were not buying it, and so on. So fast forward years later, I decided, hey, let's put some live drums so maybe people can finally be satisfied. So we do the live drums, we release the first single, and people were like, well, I like the old version better. Or I was okay with the drum programming. I go, you motherfuckers. So now it's like you have an option. You have the option. You
Yeah.
have the live drum option, which is called reindustrialize, and they have the original option with the drum programming, which is called the industrials. So
With
now you have the option between the two.
with regard to obviously getting Mike in to record the drums, was there any additional because obviously, Burton's side of things is there. Did you have to do any edits on the initial guitar takes to kind of fit with having a live drummer, or was it a case of he went in and he learned it as per the programming?
Yeah. Well, he learned it as exactly as the programming, but we also added a few different roles, a couple of different things here and there, um, minor note changes in some of the songs, but nothing really too drastic at all.
No,
That was really very, very, it wasn't super noticeable.
it gave
Um,
that kind of more of a live feel, I'm guessing, by making those slight
well,
tweaks.
yeah, of course. We're if you're talking about the feel of the record, because I was actually talking about the production of the
Oh,
record as
excuse
far
me.
as like, changing guitar notes and,
Yeah.
changing some drum things.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, like when we added all the tom rolls, it fit perfectly within the song. So I didn't really have to go back and change anything in the guitar in that sense. But I did changed the guitar tone. I went back and I beefed it up a little bit. We beefed up the kicks a little bit as far as the production. We called Greg Greeley to mix it again. Greg Greeley remixed it. It was great. And I think it came out more powerful.
Cool. With obviously going back with the mechanized reissue, that is more of just your traditional reissue with some additional bonus content. Am I correct in that there wasn't any
Uh,
kind of remixing involved with that? Am I correct in
No,
that? No. Okay.
no. Mechanized didn't have any other thing than than just the extra bonus tracks.
Yeah.
Which was Martyr, Crash Test, and a really rare one that was on our first album demo called Concrete.
The Concrete album.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the song was called Sangre de Niños, which means blood of the children. And so we put those on there, and so we thought that was cool. But reindustrialized, that one had more of the overhaul that than mechanized did.
Yeah.
Because we also added
as well, didn't you?
we changed the artwork exactly. We changed the artwork. We also added a lot of bonus content on that one. We got remixes on it. There's another song called Enhance Reality. We actually recorded it for that album, but we didn't get the song done in time to be on the record.
Okay, I understand.
So yeah, after the record was done, we had during Genexus, the album after, we finished that song. We actually put the song on the Genexus bonus content. So when I wanted to do reindustrialized, I wanted to put Enhanced Reality back to where it was supposed to be, which was supposed to be the closing track on the Industrialist. So I got to do that on reindustrialized, and you could see how it flows. And now it has its proper closure that it was supposed to have.
Is that why that one extra track is finishing the first disc and everything else goes onto the second?
Correct.
Okay. Awesome, cool. Obviously the sale of physical media is definitely it's not what it once was. When you're looking at reissuing out one album, let alone two, what are are there any background thoughts with regards to, because obviously there's a financial implication for you that you're putting into it with obviously studio time, having to pay for new mixing. Obviously obviously there's a challenge there of we need to have the physical unit shifted. Was there any kind of thoughts of, do we want to do both albums or do we just want to do one at a time? Was it always the plan to have both come together? And was there any kind of thoughts of, would it be worth spreading them out?
No, we just wanted to get it out. Well, one of the delays of this record was also we had a new record coming out.
Yeah.
Aggression Continuum. So because we already had these records prepared and ready to go. The pre-industrialized and mechanized. But we wanted to get Aggression Continuum out as soon as possible, as quick as possible. So we delayed the release of mechanized and reindustrialized. So plus also just the backup of vinyl ordering, just ordering vinyl and getting it done and manufactured. There's just a huge delay. And so that was also another thing too that took us a while to get those two records printed and made and manufactured. But we were like, let's just put them out together, fuck it. And so that's how we did it. But we wanted to give it time after Aggression Continuum had already run its course.
Yeah, you didn't just want to kind of like constantly have things coming out and almost cancelling or quieting each other out because of a steady release, for continued releases coming out one after the other.
Yeah, you gotta spread things out. You gotta plan it out and stuff like that. So that's all we did. But I'm glad that reindustrialized got made the way it did. I think it's something special. I think it's something extra. I think it sounds better. And you got all the closing tracks on it and all the bonus content. I mean, it's like 6 extra songs on it.
Awesome. So it's really kind of giving it that the final close that you probably envisioned when you were writing it, but obviously due to time constraints weren't able to obviously complete at that point in your in the writing and recording process.
Correct.
Just on to generally, your career in music, just regard to obviously the changes in just the industry, how you market yourselves, how you interact with obviously your fans and obviously other industry members. What do you think's been the better changes within this time period? And is there anything you think is missing from when you've had when you started started the band earlier in your career?
Well, there's pros and cons to how things are today. The good parts is that you can get stuff out there instantly. You can interact with the fans directly. That's probably one of the biggest things is interacting with your fans and giving them information a lot quicker than how it was back in the day when somebody had to read it in a magazine or they had to wait a few months for the magazine to come out. Now it's just everything's instant. And so the good thing, and it's the bad thing is also the same thing as the good thing. It's like there's going to be an overload of information. Like too much information is out there instantly all at the same time. Then it's hard to kind of grasp on one thing, because there's just so much. Our brains can only take so much, and so, but like I said, there's pros and cons to everything, and to me, that's the good thing is actually the same as the bad thing.
Is there anything that you feel was better that you think is no longer the norm, that you feel I wish that was still going on, or as really the pros kind of really made that necessarily redundant, basically?
Well, I kind of like the physical CDs and physical releases. I used to like. I miss going into record stores. I mean, there are record stores. Don't get me wrong, but there used to be record stores everywhere. There used to be like 2 or 3 record stores inside one mall. You know what I mean? There was record stores everywhere, and I just remember the social, just being social, going to a record store, meeting people at the record store, meeting your friends, talking to the guy behind the counter who's selling you the CD or cassette, whatever you're buying, and just having that social connection with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And physically, you know what I mean? Just seeing people walking to the store and going shopping and discovering another record you haven't seen. Like, oh shit, what's this? It looks cool. I'll get that. I miss all that.
I mean,
But
just
kids nowadays, they don't know what that is. They don't know, like what's a CD? You know what I mean? It's like, what's a cassette? Some of them don't even know that stuff. It's kind of funny how vinyl has flipped.
Yeah.
Like people know what vinyl is. Kids know what vinyl is, but they don't know what a CD is.
Yeah. I mean, do you have a personal preference on the media form? Because it's quite a big debate. Some people are very, just swear by vinyl. Me, I swear by CDs. Do you have a personal preference in the media yourself, or with obviously how you'd normally listen to music?
I like whatever makes people happy. If CDs, cassettes, vinyl, 8 tracks make people happy, I'm happy. But for me personally, like what I like listening to, you know what I mean? I used to love putting my CDs in a little CD case, having a little CD Walkman, putting the CD in there and listen to it on the plane or on the bus or wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Just having that kind of cool stuff. I liked it a lot when I was younger. And I kind of miss it.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think more it's it's walking into the record store and discovering new music, meeting people who like the kind of music you like, going to those type of concerts, meeting people and stuff like that. Now it's a lot of it's lost.
Do you still have an abundance of indie record stores in the US? Because in the UK, they did die a death kind of 10, 15 years ago. A lot of stores just shut up, and you still get them pop up, but they are they're very few and far between, and you normally have to look for them. Do you still have those kinds of stores a lot in the US, or do you find it a very similar kind of situation?
Well, I would be like, 80% of them are gone. Now it's just like vinyl stores, believe it or not. Or, like a Walmart or a Target or a Best Buy that might have 99% other products, but then they have like 1% of
Yeah,
CDs or some vinyl. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Because it's like
But
I go on, sorry.
no,
Because like for example, I went out and I mean I purchased the Reindustrialist the other week, but I had to search for it in a record store. It was like really, really kind of like hidden away, and it was just the is this just a UK thing where
but you could have went online and ordered
yeah, but I like to go to the store, you know what I
it.
mean?
Correct. Yeah.
Support the high street.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously touring is an important part of what you do, and you've been quite honest with regard to challenges, with regard to costs fluctuating through touring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you've done quite a lot lengthy US set of dates. You've done is it
Kind of like it's kind of like, the costs are kind of like just life in general. Like
yeah,
anybody who has a normal job, like you're still getting paid $10 an hour, but your rent went up,
yeah,
your insurance went up, food prices went up, gas prices went up, but your pay is the same. That's kind of like how it's been for bands as well. Like the promoters are only willing to pay you so much, but everything else went up. And
yeah.
then now the club owners and the promoters are taking a cut of your merchandise. So it's like, it's making it harder and harder for artists to survive out there.
Is because the cut thing has been something that I know I've known about for quite a few years. Are the cuts getting larger with what's being taken?
Yes. Well, that's been the whole debate. That it's been getting larger and larger. Correct. Of course, there's always been a percentage that you have to give to venues. That's just how it is. Merch, merch percentage. We're talking
Yeah,
about merch percentage.
yeah,
But of course, it's getting higher and higher. So unfortunately, the fans are the ones that have to pay for that because, once the merch percentages get higher that the venue takes, then you're gonna have to raise your prices on the t-shirt.
yeah.
And that's just inevitable, and that's unfortunate thing, and that's what happens.
Has there ever been discussions between artists and potentially unions involved of saying to venues, I'm bringing 1,000 people to your venue where you're charging over the inflation cost for drinks. I want a cut of that.
Well, it's not just the promoters of the club venues, it's also the ticket agencies.
Yeah,
It's all a big thing. It's just not one thing, it's all of it. And you're right. We do not get a percentage of the alcohol at all whatsoever. But I did hear that there was one artist that did that, and that was Axl Rose. Axl Rose was putting Guns N' Roses in stadiums and soccer stadiums and baseball stadiums, selling out 40, 50,000 people. But he was like, if you want Guns N' Roses in your stadium, you're gonna have to give me a piece of the alcohol.
hmm.
And I heard rumor that he got a piece of that alcohol, which is really good.
Hmm.
Piece of alcohol percentage, which probably evened out to
Yeah.
compared to what they were getting from the merch percentage. You know what I mean? But not a lot of artists in my genre have that kind of power. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Um,
If at all.
yeah. With obviously these things taken into consideration, you're starting in October, quite a lengthy European tour. I think it's something like 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a long one.
Yeah. How much extra preparation planning have you really had to put into this due to obviously these rising costs? Is there anything changes that you've had to do with regard to booking to ensure that you're really able to fulfill the obviously what you've obviously the obligation to come over and do it, because there are certain artists who do have quite a reputation for bailing on tours because of certain things. Have you had to put anything in place planning wise to alleviate the rising cost to make sure that you are able to get over here and successfully do the shows?
Yeah, of course. There's a lot of steps that you could take to hopefully try to save money, or try to make money. To, for instance, we're doing a tour in October, November, December with Fear Factory, Butcher Babies, and Ignia, and all three bands are sharing one nightliner. All three of us are going to be in one bus, so that's 18 people.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's one way of saving costs to being able to do the tour, not just for Fear Factory, but for all the bands.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't do that, then the tour wouldn't have been able to happen.
Obviously, you've mentioned merchandising, which has become bands have kind of morphed into not only artists and creators, but also to brands. People are exploring different ways of selling merch. We've seen bands obviously put out graphic novels. I've seen action figures, coffee, beer, etc. Is this something you've personally explored with Fear Factory, or potentially looking to explore in the future at all?
We haven't really put out anything too crazy, like not crazy, but just different, like snow globes or action figures, or nothing like that yet. Um, but we put out this, we put out scarves, we put out gloves, coffee mugs, wine glasses, just all different types of merchandise in that way.
Do you find that, I mean, is it something that you've found that you've seen as a success compared, obviously because t-shirts are always going to go. Do you see, are there particular merch items that you've seen, that you've tried out, that have met with quite, that have been quite successful and have been quite quick to move?
Yeah, we made a demanufacture hat with the demanufactured print on it.
Okay, yeah.
And they went fucking so fast we couldn't keep up the demand on those hats. For some reason, hats. So that was it. Hats. But yeah, we try to bring back, for me it's like a lot of the retro stuff for Fear Factory sells.
Yeah.
Sold and Machine, Demanufacture, Obsolete, and Digimortal. So I try to bring back all the early merch that was made back in 1992, and when those records were released, we had certain merchandise that was released at that time. So I bring back a lot of the retro designs, and those seem to go pretty quickly.
Do you, obviously you've mentioned it's a long tour that you're doing in Europe. You're all sharing obviously one bus. What do you have any particular kind of routines to help you relax and keep you focused when you are away from home for so long?
Phone and computer, just FaceTime, being able to talk with the loved ones back at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And plus, I just love the camaraderie between the bands. You know what I mean? So it's like a little community, like a little family, and I can't wait to get that on the road.
Cool. Obviously, it wraps up mid-December time. What are the plans for obviously for 2024? Is there anything set in stone yet, or are you?
Yes, I can't say it yet.
I understand you can't say, but there's more things. There's more things.
Yeah, but for sure a new record.
Okay.
We did 2024, and a lot of cool touring that I can't mention yet.
Okay, no, understand. Well, Dino, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you just want to add before we wrap the interview up at all?
No, I just want to say thank you for the support to all the fans and all the media who's supported Fear Factory over the years. Thank you very much, and I apologize for my voice.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website www.therazorsedge.rocks.